It's perfect. Sir, you look terribly ill already. Carpenter shouted, playing along. Medic, Carmen, help. The captain is dying. Binghamton collapsed into his chair, groaning with theatricality that would have made a Shakespearean actor blush. The trap was set. Chapter 2. The Acting Base Commander. Lieutenant Commander Quentin McHale entered the infirmary with the relaxed stride of a man who owned the island and everyone on it. Beside him stood Ensign Charles Parker, a man whose primary contribution to U.S. Navy was a state of constant, vibrating anxiety. "Oh, McHale," Binghamton moaned from his bed, his eyes fluttering. "I'm in bad shape. Bad shape. The medics, they don't know if I'll make it." McHale suppressed a grin. He knew Binghamton's deathbed routines better than the back of his own hand. "Gee, Captain, that's terrible. Parker and I will give Lieutenant Carpenter all the help he needs while you're recovering." "No," Binghamton barked, suddenly sitting up with alarming vigor before remembering he was supposed to be dying. "Carpenter is a boob. I'm appointing you the acting base commander, McHale." Parker's eyes nearly popped out of his head. The skipper? Acting base commander? "And Parker," Binghamton added, pointing a trembling finger, "you're the acting executive officer. Now get over to my office and take command this minute. That's an order. Out! Out!" As they left, McHale leaned toward Parker. "Chuck, something is fishy. Old Lead Bottom giving us his chair? He's setting us up for a fall." But the chaos of command was already beginning. Within minutes of taking the captain's chair, the phone wouldn't stop ringing. The sinks were still backed up, the petty officers were complaining. And then there were the garter belts. "Executive Officer Parker here." Parker squeaked into the phone. "What? The Seabees are building the new rifle range? And the Arab is in the middle of it? Tell them to keep their heads down." Meanwhile, McHale's crew, the pirates of the PT-73, saw the captain's absence as a divine mandate for a party. Gruber, Virgil, and the rest of the boys had already organized a hula wingding in the air raid shelter. The skipper said full speed ahead. Gruber told the boys, misinterpreting a completely unrelated order, "Open up the store window. We're in business." The air raid shelter was quickly transformed. Grass skirts were distributed, moonshine was poured, and a group of local girls began a rhythm that was decidedly non-military. The party was in full swing when the news hit. Iron Pants Rafferty's plane had touched down. Chapter 3. The Hula Incident. Admiral Rafferty did not walk. He marched with the percussive force of a pneumatic drill. He arrived at the base looking for order and discipline. Instead, he found McHale wearing a native lei over his uniform. "Welcome to Teratupa, sir." McHale saluted with a grin. "Acting Base Commander McHale at your service." Rafferty stared at the lei. "What the devil is that thing around your neck?" "An old native custom, sir." McHale lied smoothly, sign of respect for visiting royalty. Rafferty grunted. "I heard Binghamton was in the hospital. I'll pay my respects, and then we begin the inspection." In the infirmary, Binghamton was practically vibrating with excitement. He knew the hula girls were in the shelter. He knew the base was a shambles. He just needed to point Rafferty in the right direction. "Admiral," Binghamton cried as Rafferty entered, "I'm at death's door. But you must go to the air raid shelter. McHale has turned it into a Roman orgy. Hula, girls, disgrace." McHale, standing behind the admiral, coughed. "He's delirious, sir. Combat fatigue. He thinks he sees girls everywhere." "I am not delirious." Binghamton screamed. "There are girls in the closet. There are girls in the laundry." The admiral, looking skeptical, opened the infirmary closet. Out stepped a nurse in a swimsuit, followed by an embarrassed Lieutenant Carpenter. "Captain," Rafferty said, his voice cold enough to freeze salt water, "I'd like an explanation, and it better be good." He did it. Binghamton pointed at McHale. He's sneaking women around and shoving them in places. Rafferty turned to McHale. Commander, shall we proceed with the inspection? We'll start with the laundry. Binghamton's face went white. No, not the laundry. The air raid shelter. The girls are in the air raid shelter. By the time they reached the shelter, McHale's crew had moved with the speed of light. The girls were gone. The moonshine was hidden, and Ensign Parker was leading a frantic, high-intensity fire drill. Fire drill. 100% successful, sir, Parker shouted, his face covered in soot. Rafferty looked at Binghamton, who was now dressed in a seaman's uniform he'd stolen to sneak out of the hospital. Binghamton, why are you running around in that uniform? Screaming about girls? It's clear you need a long rest, perhaps in a facility with very soft walls. Chapter 4. The Sultan of Marami. Just as the smoke cleared from the Rafferty debacle, a new crisis arrived in the form of the Sultan of Marami. The Sultan was a man of immense wealth, traditional values, and 3 very beautiful daughters. Binghamton, desperate to regain his standing with Comfleet, saw the Sultan's visit as his ticket back to a promotion. I want everything 100% in order, he told his men. We are welcoming a Sultan and 3 princesses. My cap, is on the line. Naturally, Binghamton's first move was to try and get McHale out of the way. He ordered the PT-73 out on a recon mission to Aku Aku, a deserted strip of sand with no tactical value. However, fate had other plans. The Sultan's plane developed engine trouble and was forced to ditch near the island of Samura. The only boat in the vicinity? The PT-73. McHale and his boys pulled the Sultan and his daughters from the water. Within minutes, the Sultan was charmed by McHale's easy manner, while his daughters were charmed by, well, everything else. Wowie, wow. Gruber whispered, staring at the princesses. I heard that young man, the Sultan boomed. The next man who dares to debase the dignity of the princesses will answer to me. Oh, he didn't mean any harm, Your Highness, McHale said, stepping in. In our country, wowie, wow, is a traditional ceremonial greeting, like a chicken. The Sultan nodded thoughtfully. Like a chicken? How curious. When the boat arrived at the main base, Binghamton was waiting on the pier, practically bowing into the water. Greetings, O exalted ruler. I am Captain Wallace B. Binghamton. I trust you had a safe voyage. Yes, the Sultan replied. Thanks to your commander, McHale. He is a most efficient officer. I insist he joins us for dinner. Tonight. Binghamton's face twitched. McHale? At dinner? Of course. We're very proud of him. Chapter 5. Laughing Gas and Legacies. The dinner for the Sultan was destined for disaster the moment Ensign Parker got involved. In an attempt to secure a date with one of the princesses, the crew had engaged in a series of elaborate deceptions involving stolen uniforms and fake identities. But the real trouble began when Binghamton decided to bring a fitness board against Parker. He was determined to break the ensign down to a seaman second class. I am a regular Casey Jones when it comes to railroading, McHale, Binghamton bragged. The crew knew they had to save Parker. They needed to get Binghamton into a good mood, a really good mood. Remember when the skipper came back from the dentist the other day? Gruber asked the boys. He was high on that laughing gas. He would have promoted a shark to admiral. That's it, McHale exclaimed. Nitrous oxide, compliments of the base